Moon in the Cancer sign. The moon is in its own sign, so the moon acts like how it would normally act, or I guess is supposed to act. Whereas if the moon is in the Taurus sign or exalted, the moon becomes beneficial, since in the Taurus sign the moon becomes exalted due to the fact that the emotions are controlled. This video is about the moon in Cancer. So let me begin. The moon represents our feelings. How do you feel like dressing up today? How you feel about going to work today? So the moon has a lot to do with a person's mindset. The moon represents our mothers, step, adopted, and of course our biological mother, since you inherit the genes from your biological mother. The moon deals with caretaking and what we take care of. The moon shows what makes us sensitive and what we have an emotional attachment towards. First, I'll start with your mother because your mother is the human embodiment of what Cancer represents, meaning your mother is someone that's emotional. On the flip side, your mother could be an empath or a woman that is very kind, gentle, and caring. As a result, you inherited these traits unless your moon is conjunct K2 or something. Moon in Cancer person has feelings for everything, but their feelings is more so emotional, sensitive, and even protective. Protective because when you really care about something, you will do anything to protect it. Moon in Cancer people feel the need to take care of and look after many things the average person could care less about. These people are like sponges, so they soak up other people's emotional responses to things. For example, a moon in Cancer third house person can see his or her neighbor is crying, and rather than minding their own business, a moon in Cancer person would walk right up to the crying neighbor or at least contact the neighbor and comfort them. This type of moon shows the true caring types of people, those people with manners and can reach out to others by providing comfort. For example, a moon in Cancer second house person would have a sweet voice, a voice that is gentle, so these people would even speak with kind words. I was listening to an interview by Aaliyah, the singer that died in a plane crash, talking about Biggie Smalls. Man, her voice and kind words would sound exactly like a moon in Cancer second house person would. It's hard for strangers to hate people with a moon in Cancer sign. Their feelings, emotional response, and reaction to things is by finding ways on how they can comfort or take care of something. Hence why a moon in Cancer person has an increased chance of working in the hospitals, clinics, dental care, those old folks' homes. These people can become registered nurse assistants if their moon is in the 12th or 6th house. Even veterinarians too. I forgot to mention those hospitality workers as well, like people that work in the tourism industry. There is a downside of this though. A big downside is Your care and emotions can go towards the wrong people. For example, a moon in Cancer person can get sad and tired very easily because having the feelings for sorrow for everything can be draining. People with moon in Cancer third or ninth house have these issues. They go on social media and see a poor person, so they go donate money. Next thing you know, they get scammed. Regardless where this moon is placed, having a caring thought for things that doesn't concern you can be draining. Trust me, you go on Reddit, in those astrology subreddits, people have tons of sob stories and expect free information when they already know who astrologer they will pay. Imagine caring about those many people and their sob stories, especially for free. Question mark. Another downside is these people can be overly emotional for things that don't require the energy, which is why these people cry and get depressed over the things they care about, or at least wherever their moon in Cancer is placed. Regardless of the downsides, you should feel happy if you see moon in Cancer in the 5th or 11th house in your boyfriend or girlfriend's birth chart. They will take good care of you. Overall, a moon in Cancer sign person would feel the need to be sensitive to their surroundings, and so they rely on using their gut feelings more. Picking up and reading other people's energy, I guess a good tarot reader would have the moon in the Cancer sign. Now for the Nakshatras, moon and Pushya. I haven't mastered Pushya yet. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly either. It might be pronounced as Pushya or however. But this nakshatra is really basic. It represents the stereotypes of what we know about the Cancer sign, like being kind, caretaking, wanting to help people, being excessively emotional, health or medical care work. It's the sweet and thoughtful side of the moon, whereas the Ashlesha Nakshatra is the complete opposite. I'll focus on the Pushya Nakshatra real quick. If your moon is in Pushya, the 7th house, then you care way too much about strangers. Care in a way where you want to help them. Almost like you are an empath, which is kind of bad. Bad because strangers would take advantage of your kindness. On the flip side, strangers will interact with you with the same gentleness. So let's say you are at a grocery store. You need help with trying to find where the sugar is. If I ask a stranger that in a grocery store, there is a high chance they get into an argument with me due to me having Mars in my 7th house. Whereas a person with moon being in the Pushya Nakshatra is way more likely to have strangers talk to them kindly. Strangers are more than likely to have sympathy for you and try to help you. Now for the next nakshatra, moon in the Ashlesha Nakshatra. I definitely mastered this nakshatra. Ashlesha is all about manipulation and deceit in order to gain an advantage. Advantage in a way where a person wants control or to manipulate for whatever reasons. People manipulate others. I don't know. This manipulation is done through emotions because the Cancer zodiac represents this nakshatra. women naturally can use their emotions to make something work in their favor. So a woman that has moon in Ashleisha is basically powerful or can be dangerous. Yeah, those women you see committing crimes, but they go to court trial and lie. Next thing you know, the guy that was with her ends up getting the charges. This happens very often. Actually, the woman gets arrested and then let go. Some people think Tupac was lied on when he went to prison. If true, then that woman can very likely have moon in the Ashleisha Nakshatra. The moon representing our feelings. Feelings lead to our mood, thoughts, and those things can lead to our actions. So a moon in Ashleisha Nakshatra would try to manipulate for many different things, not just where the moon is placed. For example, a moon in Ashleisha person, male or female, would cry or use the emotions to work in their favor. Let's say the moon is in the Ashleisha Nakshatra 12th house. Then this person gets emotional in places where they are alone or not seen. Now that they have feelings or are emotional, this is when they can start to plot ways on how they can use emotions to their advantage. Another example, regardless of the house placement, is these people care for things, but they don't actually care about it at all. So if your wife has this type of moon in her 8th house, then it is very likely she can pretend to feel sad in regards to your finances or death with a family member, when in actuality she uses that false pretense so she can gain inheritances or will money from whoever. Remember, because they use their emotions to manipulate, or I guess y'all use y'all emotions if you have displacement and you're watching this video. Now back to the moon in the Ashleisha Nakshatra in the 8th house scenario. It could be to control or dictate the spouse into giving her money for whatever reason. This is like one of those prenup situations. I forgot to mention too, Ashleisha puts lots of emphasis on being clingy. So a person with this kind of moon can be very attached to the things that they care about to the point that they become overprotective. So overprotective, they can even watch your whereabouts. I also forgot to talk about medicinal, chemical, or the pharmaceutical side of Ashleisha. These people will think of ways in which they can try to find cures for things. Those herbalists come to my mind. People that try to use plants. For example, let's say moon in Ashleisha is in the 6th or 1st house. Chinese people could relate to this as well. In the Bahamas, it is an old tradition where people use bush medicine for when someone is sick. They use plants like cerasee and boil them. I can't say how it tastes because you gotta pay me to drink it. Yeah, so if someone has this type of moon in the 6th or 1st house, they utilize these non-traditional forms of medicines to cure illnesses or diseases. Not a bad thing if you ask me. Anyways, follow me on the other apps. There will be more videos to come.